Huh? MJ, groundshark.com. Thank you. This is my favorite, by the way. I feel I can kick anybody's ass with this. We got a lot of questions already. The reason I switched to NoGi is because last week I wanted to go over the entries, you know, the failed armbar entry into backside 90-10, which we never got to because, as you know, live questions get priority. So let's go. I'll try to go over it real quick again, and then we start with questions, and we come back to this if we need to. So anytime I have somebody in open guard, and I'm okay because, go ahead, stand up. If I'm threatening an armbar, if pans out, if it doesn't, I'm going into backside 90-10. This is my go-to position in leg locks these days because this gives me a very strong form of control. It prevents him from rolling, and there is not a whole lot he can do, especially if I put my foot, if the guy's really strong and I can push. So this is my go-to leg entries right now, and it all starts with a failed armbar, which I'm pretty good at, but I'm okay to take that risk because I know I can go straight into the legs. But let's go with the questions. We already have a few questions.
Yes, we have a lot of good mornings from MJ, Bob Adams, Ensberg.
What's up, guys?
First question was from Lucas. Hi, Fox. How to apply a submission-oriented passing style to pass open guard, such as guillotines, kimura, arm lock, etc. Open guard in general, but especially the supine open guard. How to pass
All right. So, yeah, I don't advocate that, by the way. I basically recommend against it for a variety of reasons. So let's go over the reasons. So supine guard is his back is on the ground. So the only thing I have access to is his legs. Hook. There's not a lot of control. So you have several factors going on at the same time. So generally speaking, if my students do this, I yell at them. So if I take a heel hook and I basically drop in as I'm trying to control his legs, there's high probability you're going to lose it, and now you're on the bottom. And also very high probability that you're going to hurt somebody because you dropped in too tight and you could not control sort of the pressure because you have a falling body. Same thing, like a lot of times people like this one. So they do like a rolling kimura. This is, again, I am not a fan of this because, again, as you're going for that submission, you're hoping that you get a good grip on the arm at the same time, and like sometimes it's a little bit easier if the guy's seated, so you can kind of get a better grip, and then you kind of wind up in a dominant position. Okay, now if the guy moves the wrong way, guess what's going to hit the ground first? You try to fall in a certain way to roll over your shoulder, right? Not head first into the mat. If you do this on a long-term basis, there's a good chance you're going to have a problem with your neck. So, the only thing I do, and again, it's not a submission threat. It's head control, which I can switch into the guillotine. But it's really the threat becomes real once he puts his back on the ground from seated position. But usually you start with a seated position. Generally speaking, if he's supine, you only have access to the legs. And again, we talked about the issues. The issue is that you either screw it up, which is a high probability, and then you wind up on the bottom, and a self-defense scenario, that's not a place you want to be, or you actually get such a tight bite and then you fall, and the guy, you don't control that anymore. Now there's a high probability of injury. So basically, I would just tell you to stay away. And with the rolling kimuras, yeah, it works. But you usually see that high-level competitors, guys that are very flexible, very sort of experienced, and they will drop on their head. Again, you drop on your head many, many times like this, you will have an issue with your neck. I strongly recommend you do not do it. When I'm in supine, when somebody's here, pass the guard. Pass the guard, then attack. Then threaten submission. I will threaten a submission from the bottom. Listen, you're in a competition. It's the other guy's leading, and listen, in competition, people are more inclined to accept the risk of injury. You want to take the freaking heel hook and drop? Okay, by all means. Then you're going to say, well, how do I drill this? Very carefully. Okay, I hope that answers your question, but basically the short answer is stay away.
Do you have a favorite guard pass then for the supine?
Yeah. That's a good. So basically, for supine, like anytime supine, I basically step. It's kind of hard to get around both legs, and I usually don't like to bring my legs too far. And the reason for that is because once I'm extended like this, if I'm basing so much power on my arms that if it gets taken away, again, I'm going head first into the mat. Guys, over time, neck injuries can be fairly common in jiu-jitsu. It's usually self-inflicted. A lot of times it's off takedowns. A lot of times, years ago I had a problem, no, just stay down. A lot of times I had a problem with being here in top side control, and the guy would try to buck me off, and I would break with my head. I still do it, but try to do it very few times because there's only so much you can do that that jamming effect is very, very bad for you as over time it adds up, so I don't usually post and kind of get my legs far away. So a lot of times I will either go tight over under. So that's one of the passes I use if I go tight. So for example, let's go this way. One of the things that I do, if the guy that plays a lot of reverse del hiva, I make sure that I pinch his calf under my leg. So now he cannot move this anymore. And I go over under. And this, now I start to pressure. He should have stretched better. So that's my over under. That's usually if he likes to play reverse del hiva. And the other way is basically if it's a little bit more mobile, it's a knee cut threat or switch to the other side. These are kind of my three go-to guard passes that I tend to use. Again, I don't try to get around both his legs. It's very difficult, especially with high-level guys. So basically, I cut my job in half. Basically, I step in with one hand on the hip, and from here, knee cut. Or if he starts to bring his knee in the middle, I go with it, shuffle, and from here, leg palm on, basically crush his guard. So basically, those are sort of the go-to guard passes for me. You'd be surprised how effective they can be if you do this well.
We're running out of time.
Oh.
We do have a follow-up question from Nehemiah. Sorry if I butchered your name. And then from Ensberg, we'll take it on the app side.
Yeah, guys. So we're gonna, just so you understand, guys, silverfoxbjjglobal.com. Okay. Do they still get 3 free days to play around with it?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, if you like the instruction, go to the app. You get 3 days to play around with it. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you don't, then you don't. But understand that there is a lot of information that is organized in a way that you can look at it through via submission, via position, defense, offense, gi, no-gi. By the way, my gi and no-gi game is almost the same. So silverfoxbjjglobal.com. So we're going to take up the discussion that failed armbar into backside 90-10 on the app. And also there's another question on the app, which is dog bar.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Dog bar entry, we're going to take that on the app. I know Engsberg's question on the app.
Yes.
And let's answer Nehemiah's.
Yes.
I hope I didn't butcher your name.
Yeah.
I got it from Elia.
And then
if I did.
And Enrique said 2 things. To tell you that he'll post a video later today, and Sean, do your stretching.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I got a lot of things coming up. November 9th, we'll be doing a grand opening in West Palm Beach in Florida for Silver Fox BJJ 561, which is Enrique's school. Yeah. Sun and waves, hopefully. Well, no, hopefully not too big waves. Hurricane season should be closing down by then, hopefully. And then I gotta do. I'm doing a Bush Camp Brothers camp in beginning of December, 7th and 8th in southern Germany. So if you want to join us, do it, guys. By the way, the Costa Rica camp is pretty much sold out. Do not send money unless you talk to Aaliyah first, because I don't want 3 people send money and we have to send it back now. Okay. What's the name of his question?
His question was, where is it? Sorry. Oh, do you use stepping on the opponent's leg to pass or break grips, especially very active and strong guard players?
Yes, I will. So, sometimes, a lot of times, especially if I leg pummel, I will pin with the shin. But sometimes, the Ruotol brothers, like sometimes, usually it's better right to right, left to left. Okay? So if I go left to right, that doesn't help me much. Right? Because I'm not getting any closer. So I will do that. I will, like, you're by nature you're unstable, but if I have to, I will just go right. Yeah. Now he's going to try to bring this in. Yeah. So absolutely, you can enhance your guard passing with stepping, especially. Yeah, this is a bigger topic, but let's talk about it. So you have tight guard passing and loose guard passing. But loose guard passing, I would almost break it down into 2 elements. So tight is basically like over under, double under, pinch the hips and hopping over, controlling the pants and so forth. But in loose guard passing, it's sort of like this, very loose from a distance. I tend to favor this one, where I have some elements of control. It's not easy for him to enter into my legs. And at the same time, usually I use the knee cut or the shuffle over or over under. So that's the one I favor, sort of somewhere in between. And if you have to switch it up, guys, because if you switch it up, that it's hard for the guy to adjust to like tight to loose, left, right, up, down. They cannot keep up. All right, I'll see you next time.